Alright, so railguns and space engineers are the most effective weapon in the game. They have the highest bullet velocity, and they travel the full distance of 2 kilometers, and they deal a lot of damage when they impact. However, there's another thing about railguns that no one really considers when choosing what weapons to put on their ship, and that's the fact that railguns can be armored really, really easily. A lot of the other weapons, such as just general turrets, which can't be armored at all, and fixed weapons like artillery, which fire out the center of their block, have a very hard time finding a shroud that can cover the most of their firing arc while also allowing them to still shoot. Railguns, however, are kind of immune to this problem because you can use these heavy armor slopes here to provide a ton of protection from the front while also leaving the smallest hole for the railgun to shoot out of. That way, you've got a very low chance of being cored in the sense that it just skips all of your armor here, and then your railguns die. However, there is one major downside to this method, and you might look at it already and be like, "Oh, I don't like this," and that's that it just looks bad. Unlike passageways, which are like nice looking blocks, these are just looking slopes, and the worst part about them is that they aren't even symmetrical. Uh, you have to either build on a too wide line of symmetry, or you have to just deal with looking at this all the time. And when placed on the front of a ship, a wall of armor like this looks really bad. But it's the most effective method, so we're going to want to use it. So this video is going to be about ways of covering up this armoring technique so that it looks the best while also functions like normal. Let's begin. The first method we have is the method that I use on my most recent ship. This is indentation. When you are using indentation, you basically put your railguns behind some other blocks, and they are set back into the hull. The idea is that if you look at it from far away, you can't see the armor there. In that way, the ugly part of the armor is hidden, and instead the more symmetrical, flatter, cleaner version of these slabs here are shown instead. So it's a great way to hide the uneven pattern while also allowing your railguns to shoot through. The second method is the method employed by my friend Zaps, or Delta Wing, as other people might know him. This strategy basically attempts to put the railgun openings in plain sight. The idea is that if you choose a proper shape, you can sort of build the openings into your ship, and that way, even though you can see the openings, they still look somewhat decent just as is. He also does this thing where he just doesn't put railguns in the center, so he doesn't have to worry about asymmetry at all. This is a very effective method because you don't need any other blocks in front, so it shortens your ship. And but the downside is that it's really hard to pull off. This is, to my knowledge, the only shape that works with this method of railgun armoring, and it's very hard to fit onto your ships. And unless you use a bow exactly like this, you're pretty much going to run into some issues where you just can't fit this onto your ship and get it to look good. So it's very useful when it works, but there's a lot of situations where it just won't work. The third and final method is the one I employed on my Leningrad battlecruiser here, and that is simply just don't show the railguns. So we have what looks like a ship here with a hangar bay at the front, but if I open up this hangar bay, you will see that very quickly there's no fighters in here. It is just a wall of railguns. The idea is that you've got some ugliness of railgun armor behind here, and then when you're not in combat, you just close the hangar doors, and everything looks perfectly normal. You don't have to look at the railgun openings at all. But when you're in combat, you simply open the doors, and bam, you have access to your railguns. This method, however, has one major flaw, and that's if you get shot before your hangar doors have fully opened, and they get hit and damaged, they're going to be stuck in a partially open state, which the railguns will not be able to fire past. And because you're shooting your railguns from your own grid, you won't be able to damage the hangar doors. So until your opponent goes and destroys these hangar doors with another volley of railguns, you just could be locked out from firing any of these weapons in here, which is a bit of an issue. The fourth and final method of making your railgun armor look good is to simply not armor your railguns in the first place. Railguns are a very good looking block, and they can be very aesthetically pleasing. But there can be some problems with not armoring your railguns. first and foremost, that they're going to get shot and get destroyed. There's a reason people armor their railguns. It's so that you don't get hit and then you can't fire your guns anymore. You want to be able to fire your guns even after getting hit by railguns 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, that's about it. Do armor your railguns, and when you do, and you want your ship to look good, this is my advice. Do one of these 3 methods. It'll make it look so much better. So, yeah, I guess see you in the next video.